Hey there, all you urban explorers out there. Welcome back to the Urbanist's Lens, this show where we like to zoom in on the coolest things happening in cities around the world. You know me, I'm Drew.
And I'm Andrea.
And Andrea, what's going on?
Not much, Drew. Just trying to survive another day, in the urban jungle that is New York City. It never ends. The sirens, the crowds.
The smell of hot dogs in the air.
Exactly.
Tell me about it. I swear, I think I dodged more people on my way to the studio today than in a video game. It's crazy, but hey, that's what keeps things interesting, right?
I know, right?
Speaking of interesting, today we're hopping across the pond. We're going to London because we are diving into the Elizabeth Line discourse.
London's calling urban explorers. That's right.
That's right. We're going to be exploring how this massive new rail line is not just changing commutes, but how Londoners live, work, and play. It's a giant experiment in urban transformation.
I like that. A giant experiment.
So picture this. You're in London, right? Instead of cramming into the tube, you're gliding through the city on this sleek, spacious train.
That's the Elizabeth Line. Baby, opened just last year.
Yeah, and it's already a smashing success. I mean, come on, 1 in 7 of all UK rail passengers are using this line. That's over 500 million people.
Yeah, 500 million.
I know. More passengers than go through Waterloo Station.
Which is saying something.
It is saying something.
But here's the thing, urban explorers, it's not just about the numbers, right? It's about the impact. This is like a project so good that it pulls people away from their cars, from buses, even other train lines.
Oh, yeah, and that's the whole idea of abstraction.
Abstraction.
It's not just adding to the existing transportation mix,
Yeah.
It's changing the whole game. Like, imagine if you built a bike lane in New York City that was so amazing that everyone just ditched their car for their commute.
Man, I can only dream.
Right.
But that idea of abstraction is powerful. It means that good infrastructure can actually change people's behavior, not just accommodate it. 100%. And it's having a tangible impact. I mean, we're talking about new housing developments, popping up businesses, relocating job opportunities on the rise. It's like this line is a magnet, drawing in new life and energy.
Sounds like they built a train line and a whole new neighborhood sprung up around it. Like magic.
A little bit, yeah.
But, I'm curious about, are the people who already live there, are they happy about all this change?
Well, according to the data, a whopping 90% of people living near the Elizabeth Line say it's improved their area.
90%, Andrea. That's amazing.
It is. Think about it. Easier commutes, access to jobs, more things to do within easy reach. It's a pretty compelling testament to the power of good infrastructure.
I mean, that's what I call making an impact. Really makes you think about how we approach urban development. Sometimes you got to go big to make a real difference.
You do.
And what's so fascinating here is that this isn't just like some isolated success story. This is sparking a whole national conversation in the UK about how to invest in cities.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to note what London Mayor Sadiq Khan said. He called the Elizabeth Line a game changer.
For the whole city.
Yeah, for the whole city,
Yeah.
Supporting jobs, growth, and housing. So it's not just a London thing. It's a national issue.
Yeah, and maybe, just maybe, there's some lessons here for us across the pond, too.
I think so.
Okay, so the Elizabeth Line, a hit in London, new housing, new jobs, happy residents. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But here in New York, we know that even the best laid plans can hit a few snags. What about the Elizabeth Line? Are there any downsides?
Well, no system is perfect,
Sure.
right? The Elizabeth Line has had its share of challenges. I mean, for one thing, there have been strikes, which, as you know, can bring everything to a grinding halt.
Tell me about it. The MTA loves a good strike.
Right. And then there have been delays and technical glitches, too, which, to be honest, are pretty much inevitable with a project of this scale.
Yeah.
And then there's the infamous issue of the missing toilets.
Wait, what? No toilets on the Elizabeth Line.
Yeah, it's become a bit of a running joke.
Wow. I can only imagine the frantic scramble when you realize you're stuck on a delayed train.
Right.
Yikes.
But hey, even with those hiccups, the Elizabeth Line is still a phenomenal achievement.
Absolutely.
And it's got people talking about what's possible when cities invest in bold, transformative projects.
Okay, urban explorers. We're just getting started with our Elizabeth Line discourse. Stay tuned as we dig deeper into the ripple effects of this project and explore the bigger picture of urban transformation. It's about to get really interesting.
Welcome back, Urban Explorers. We're digging deeper into the Elizabeth Line's impact, and it's sparking some interesting debates across the UK.
Debate. What's there to debate? Sounds like London hit a home run with this project.
Well, while the Elizabeth Line's success is undeniable, it's also raising questions about regional disparities and investment priorities. Imagine you have a group of friends,
Okay.
and one friend gets a brand new car while the others are stuck with their old clunkers.
Ah, I see where you're going with this. A little bit of envy, maybe.
Exactly. While London is enjoying its shiny new train line, other parts of the UK, especially in the north, are feeling a little left out. They're wondering when their promised infrastructure upgrades will arrive.
So it's like, hey, London got its fancy new toy. What about us?
You got it. And that brings us to HS2, a high-speed rail project that's been in the works for years. It was supposed to connect London to the north, boosting connectivity and economic growth. But guess what?
Spill the tea. What happened?
Well, HS2 has been plagued by delays, budget overruns, and political controversies. In fact, the northern leg of the project has been scrapped altogether.
Canceled. Wow, that's a major blow. So while Londoners are zipping around on the Elizabeth line, folks up north are left wondering if their turn will ever come.
It definitely raises questions about fairness and regional equity, but here's where things get even more interesting. Some experts argue that the success of the Elizabeth Line actually strengthens the case for investing in similar projects elsewhere in the UK.
So they're saying, hey, look what happened in London. Imagine what we could do in Manchester or Birmingham or Liverpool.
Exactly. It's like a proof of concept, showing that these kinds of bold investments can have a transformative impact, not just on transportation, but on the entire economy and quality of life.
Right. It's about thinking long term, not just about immediate costs. And, it's not just about the economic benefits either.
Hmm.
Remember that quote we shared from Christian Wolmar, the author who wrote about the Elizabeth Line? He talked about stepping off a cramped tube train into the spaciousness of the new line and how it felt like entering a different world.
It's a beautiful image, isn't it? And it speaks to something deeper than just getting from point A to point B.
For sure.
It's about the experience of the journey, the feeling of being transported to a better place, both literally and figuratively.
It's like stepping into the future. And that's something we often forget when we talk about infrastructure. It's not just about functionality. It's about creating spaces that inspire and uplift us.
Absolutely. And that's something the Elizabeth Line seems to be doing exceptionally well, even with its challenges, the strikes, the delays, the lack of toilets. It's still exceeding expectations in terms of performance and customer satisfaction.
Okay, so we've covered the success story, the regional debate, and the human impact. But let's not forget, the Elizabeth Line is still a work in progress. What are some of the ongoing challenges they're facing?
Well, managing the sheer volume of passengers, especially during peak hours, is a constant challenge. Imagine trying to squeeze 1 million people through a straw.
Ay, caramba. That sounds like a logistical nightmare.
And then there's the issue of integration with the existing transport network. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Right.
It takes time and careful planning to make all the pieces work together seamlessly.
Right, because you don't want to create new problems while you're trying to solve old ones. But hey, even with those growing pains, it sounds like the Elizabeth Line is on the right track.
It definitely is. And it's a valuable lesson for us urban explorers. Big, ambitious projects like this will always have their hiccups. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't dream big and strive to create cities that are better, smarter, and more enjoyable to live in.
That's the spirit. And on that note, we're going to take a quick pause. When we come back, we'll wrap up our Elizabeth Line discourse with some final thoughts and key takeaways for our urban explorers. Don't go anywhere. All right, urban explorers, we're back. You know what they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. But honestly, I miss talking about this Elizabeth Line. It's fascinating.
It really is, yeah?
What strikes me, it's not just about like the engineering marvel or the economic boost or whatever. It's about the people, the everyday Londoners whose lives are being changed by this thing.
I agree with that. We can get really caught up, in the numbers and the big picture and kind of lose sight of the individual stories.
And it seems like the Elizabeth Line is really improving people's lives. Think about it. Easier commutes, access to new opportunities, a renewed sense of pride in their city.
Yeah, it's almost like, when you put on like a fresh new outfit,
Okay.
you stand a little taller, you feel a little more confident.
Mhm.
That's what the Elizabeth Line is doing for London. It's like giving the city a whole makeover, both physically and emotionally.
It's giving the city a makeover.
Yeah.
I like that. And it's so powerful because, when you invest in good infrastructure, you're not just investing in like concrete and steel. You're investing in people's hopes and dreams.
Yeah, you're saying, hey, we believe in this city.
Yeah.
And we believe in you.
Exactly. It's about creating a sense of possibility, a feeling that things can be better, that progress is possible. And you know what? That's contagious.
It is. Yeah.
It spreads. It spreads to other parts of the city, to other sectors, even to other countries. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yes, success breeds success. Right.
And maybe, just maybe, the Elizabeth Line can inspire other cities around the world to think bigger, to be bolder, to invest in their future.
I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? A world where every city had a transportation system that was not only efficient, but enjoyable, inspiring, and equitable.
Now that's a world I want to live in. But you know what? Until that day comes, we can learn from London's example.
Yeah.
We can demand better from our leaders, from our planners, from ourselves.
We can be the change we want to see in our cities. We can support projects that prioritize people, that connect communities, that create opportunities.
We can be the urban explorers who pave the way for a brighter future.
On that note, urban explorers, we've reached the end of the line for our Elizabeth Line discourse. We hope you've enjoyed the ride.
We hope you learned a thing or two about the power of infrastructure to transform cities and lives.
Remember, the future is what we make it. So let's keep exploring, keep dreaming, keep pushing for a better tomorrow.
Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged,
Yeah.
and keep those urban explorer spirits high. Adios, amigos.